What's up, brother?
What's up, brother?
How's it going?
Look what I've been working on.
Damn.
It is a poster for an old age home meetup, and I'm getting paid $50 for this shit. This is like my peak work. I haven't created a creative better than this.
This is fucking shit.
It does not look like a get together poster. It looks like a fucking rock band concert poster. Who's paying you for this shit? Do you realize that no one's gonna show up to this get together because of your shitty poster design? Let's just. Do you find yourself designing stuff according to your own creative vision, or do you end up designing stuff that does not resonate with your target audience and they end up disliking it? Well, the sad news is you're not empathetic enough. But don't worry, this is just the right video for you. In this video, I'm going to go over how empathy can help you become a better designer, a better human being, and even help you save the world. Yes, you heard me right. Save the world. But first, let me tell you what empathy is and why it matters. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. It is what makes us human and what makes us connect with each other. According to a study by Harvard Business Review, empathy is one of the most important skills for the future of work. It helps us innovate, collaborate, and solve problems. Empathy is also essential for designing and developing products and services that people love and value, as it helps us understand their needs and preferences and emotions. Do you ever notice how Apple and Spotify have a strong understanding of their user needs and emotions, and they end up producing products that we all end up liking and buying? I'm sorry if you're a Google or Samsung fanboy. I mean, I was there 2 years ago, but here I am drowning in Apple's ecosystem because they ended up catering better to my human emotion. Empathy is one of the greatest and the most powerful tool you'll ever learn in your life. It can help you become an amazing, respectable human being and eventually a great designer / entrepreneur that designs products that people love using in their daily lives. Empathy is not only good for businesses, it's also good for the world. We can actually leverage empathy to tackle wicked issues like poverty, climate change, and even inequality. By empathizing with people that are affected by these issues, we have a better chance of developing solutions that are more effective, more sustainable, more humane, and even more grounded on their needs. Unfortunately enough, the nature of good businesses is shifting from human-centered design to life-centered design. A lot of businesses are caring more about emotions and improvising over their user experience, while there are some even more considerate businesses that are analyzing their business activities' impact over the environment and the lives around us. Now, for those people who are feeling helpless about not being empathetic at all, you can develop empathy as a practice. There are just 3 simple steps to do so. Step 1. Learn and study emotions. Most of the people that I know of aren't even aware of the emotions that exist in this world, and they end up living their life in a very black and white sense. It is essential to study the topic of emotional intelligence and how humans think and function, and what sort of emotions are there in a human's mind. This is often neglected in our work, and we end up coming up with things that weren't well thought. We've all had chances to empathize with people all our lives. Even when you were designing your first chemistry class presentation, if you focused more deeply on your teacher's needs and preferences and added that glitter effect in your presentation, you probably would have scored more than you did. I don't know why a lot of people shy away from acting upon these opportunities to empathize. Like when I was in my 12th grade, I made sure even the most boring economics project that I had was specifically tailored to my teacher's obsession with wearing glittered saris. It is very easy to learn and predict people when you know and understand human emotions. Step 2, feel it. This is where you test out the knowledge that you've gained about emotional intelligence in a real world setting. Whenever you step out of your house or room today, try to pay undivided attention to your friends or parents' rant for 5 minutes and tell them, I understand you and I know how it feels. Tell me more about it. And see the amount of happiness it brings to them. They would be jolly and smiley all day, knowing that someone actually cares about their day and cares about a random rant about the smallest things in the world. And don't just say it because I told you to do so. Say it when you actually mean it and you've tried to put yourself in their shoes and walked a mile with them in their rant journey to actually understand what they're actually going through, if that makes any sense. Believe it or not, nowadays a lot of corporates and businesses are taking the step 2 very seriously. I'll tell you a very great example of the step 2 in the corporate world. Dipender Goyal, the CEO of Zomato, actually got out of his office to deliver food to people on New Year's Eve, and he experienced how it felt for delivery partners to deliver food on the busiest day of the whole year. And unsurprisingly, Zomato now has better facilities and perks for its delivery partners. And there are so many other companies that are actually pushing their designers and engineers to take this step seriously by blindfolding them and asking them to use their product, or asking them to use their product without a limb, to actually witness and understand how it feels for a disabled person to use their product without feeling excluded. Step 3, spread it. Talk to people, trigger conversations, get to know how their day was. It was so normal to talk to random people or strangers in public spaces before we all got carried away by someone else's attempt of being empathetic. Not gonna say who. Instagram, it doomed all of us by personally curated content according to our needs and emotions, and we all got too caught up in just infinitely scrolling through our feeds and not paying attention to people around us. Even when we're traveling or we're sitting in a restaurant, we choose to focus more on our cell phone devices and not on the people around us. I would suggest you all to actually put in the effort to get out of your phone screens and go up and talk to people and understand their perspectives. Once you start building more upon the mindset of extracting perspectives and realities from people around you, you would end up exploring and getting to know certain parts of you that you never imagined of. Now, for the people who refer to themselves as great managers or amazing leaders that have excuses for not being empathetic, such as power dynamics or not letting emotions take the best out of your work, imagine walking up to your employer and approaching them for the discussion of performance review, and it goes like this: Pranav, we need to have a conversation about how your performance has been for the last 3 months, and I must say that it's been quite shit, and you really need to work over your sales and finances and whatnot, and you're just a fucking disgrace to this company. So, and if nothing changes in a week or so, we're gonna have some real serious talk about this. Sir, I know my numbers haven't been at the highest for the last few months, but to get your ass to work right now. My dog actually I can assure you that that person would not want to come to the office the next day or even feel motivated to improve his performance. It would cost you and your business even more damage than his underperformance. But if you had to approach it the other way, Pranav, we need to talk about how your performance has been for the last 3 months. Your sales numbers haven't been the best so far, and I completely understand the situation you're in. I got to know that your dog recently passed away, and I am truly, really sorry for it. So, just know I'm here for you. This way, there are actually chances that the employee would feel comfort and safe in this environment, and it might also improve his performance in the long term. It is genuinely so easy to develop empathy as a practice. I'm quoting Tony Fidel on this. So we need to start looking at world the way it is and not the way we think it is. We all literally have mirror neurons in our brains which actually program us and gives us the ability to care about other people's experiences and feel them. Maybe it's just that our own experiences and biases are not allowing us to trigger them or use them right. However, practicing empathy is not the easiest task. Empathy can sometimes be a double-edged sword that can cause you more harm than good. In my own experiences and other shared experiences that I've had with designers, there are a lot of common mistakes that we all make while being empathetic. These common mistakes can actually cost you your work quality, your relationships, and even your mental health. So here are the 4 mistakes that you must avoid to be a better designer and a better human being. And also so that you don't have to go through the shit that I went through for not being empathetic earlier. The first mistake is not being comfortable with your own feelings. When we actually start practicing empathy, we tend to feel emotions and feelings very intensely and deeply. We can easily pick up on others' emotions and try to understand them better. However, we often neglect our feelings and throw our emotions out in a bag and just not give a fuck about them. Like, being in a state of denial and suppression. It can actually lead to emotional burnouts, breakdowns, and even depression. To avoid this mistake, we need to acknowledge, accept, and express our feelings. We need to set healthy boundaries and say no when needed. Remember that we're not responsible for the feelings of others, and we can only help them if we help ourselves first. This leads me to my second mistake, which was relating every closely similar experience that the other person is sharing to my own personal experiences, or in simple words, just being a narcissist. Ever find yourself in situations where the other person is talking about something regarding their own personal experience or their own personal trauma, and you end up relating that to your own personal trauma, and everything just becomes about you in your own mind? Sometimes we end up overdoing this personal connections of things, and we end up making the conversation and everything about ourselves. We may interrupt, dominate, or hijack the conversation, and this would lead you to give them unsolicited advice, opinions, or solutions. To avoid this mistake, we need to learn how to listen actively and respectfully. We need to practice silence, patience, and humility. The next time you're conversing with a family member or a friend, make sure you ask them open-ended questions, show genuine interest, and actively listen to what they're saying, and even provide constructive feedback to them. We need to realize that we're not the center of the universe, and we can only empathize with others if we respect their individuality and autonomy. This leads me to my next point, which is not being in the present. We as humans tend to have vivid imagination and a strong sense of curiosity. We can easily put ourselves in the shoes of other people and imagine what it feels to be them. Sometimes we get too caught up in our imagination and we detach ourselves from the reality. We may dwell on the past, worry about the future, and fantasize about alternative scenarios. This can lead to distraction, confusion, and social anxiety. To avoid this mistake, we need to practice how to be mindful and focus on being present in the moment. Coming to the fourth and final mistake you should avoid. When you shift your mindset from being a narcissist to an empath, you tend to absorb other people's energy a lot. You would have high levels of sensitivity and receptivity. You can easily sense the energy of the people around you and can empathize with their vibe. However, we often get influenced and affected by the energy of others. We may end up taking on behaviors, emotions, and moods of other people, which may cause us to lose our sense of identity, direction, and purpose. To avoid this mistake, we need to make sure that we do everything possible to protect and preserve our own energy. We need to remember that we all are unique and valuable, and we cannot empathize with other people until we maintain our own integrity and authenticity as humans on this planet. And trust me on this, empathy is the only skill and tool that will help you not lose your job to AI. That's the only thing they can never replicate. Humans would understand and know humans better than any piece of technology ever produced. And on that note, I hope this video was valuable and insightful for your life's journey, and it could actually bring in some value in your life. Yes, just a second. Wow. Yep. Fuck, bro, this is actually really good. All thanks to you. That's the power of empathy, my friend.